All right, what is going on, Learn Nation? Today we're going to talk about audience management. All right, now not we had a whole module on audiences, right? But let's take it a little bit one more step to the max. Okay, like what is like really good audience management, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's extremely necessary that you all master this because it's going to be very like high strategy for in how you communicate with the rest of your team on how you need to organize your audiences, how you attribute spend, how you organize your budget. Let's get into it. All right, so we're all familiar with this by now, the audience view within Facebook, right? We've talked about, naming conventions. You can have some like more advanced naming conventions, but really where data comes into play is in the actual ads manager itself, right? So, I mean, we've already talked about like all the different types of audiences you can make, like web visitors, send lane, or email lists, uploading your own data, lookalikes, hot, warm, and cold, right? And then you go into the ads manager and you have a good naming convention. You can kind of export the data, pivot it, organize it, and really see which audiences are working the best. So in this account in particular, okay, we're running all cold right now. A little bit of tier two, but mostly tier one. All right. So, these are all selected. These are all the active campaigns. If we go over to the ad sets, a lot of these are learning. I see some lookalikes. I see some images, some videos. I see a bunch of interests. Okay. Like money. This is a retail investing. I know we do like passive income and entrepreneurship. Great. So this is like your normal view, right? You come into Facebook, you manage this view, but as a senior media buyer, as someone who is like managing the strategy of this across multiple accounts, it can get a little hectic, right? If this is the only account I was working in, I could do it just from this view, but we have like 15 accounts, right? So I need to like export this data and kind of compartmentalize it. I need to shorten it up a bit, segment it by cold, warm, and hot. So what we do is on a weekly basis, we come over here and we create a table in Excel or Google Sheets, I should say. And we look at this on a weekly basis, rolling 7-day basis every week. We go into every account. Okay, account 1, 2, 3. This product account, this product. This is just the pub code. This is for all of our products, like a product code. So, we have an account for every product. We separate every account by every product. I've told you why that's important for like pixel training and learnings, but also managing budgets and stuff by product. It's a little bit easier and cleaner. And then as you can see here, we're taking everything labeled with cold and we're saying how much did we spend in that given time frame. Now, the time frame is a variable here. We like to look at it every week. Okay, I want to see trending percentage of hot, warm, and cold every week. So, we pull in all the spends from every account. Okay, how much spend went into cold, how much went to warm, how much went into hot. Okay, and we just keep typing it in, going down the line here. All right. You can see here we had a very big cold to warm ratio. Mostly was cold, and then I just create a quick like sum formula here where I'm just just to give you an example, sum. Okay, and then I'm selecting everything that is marked cold. I'm holding down the command key or control. Cool, and that's the sum, right? Then I'm doing just a quick little division, right, of how much is it cold. So I'm taking the total spend, right, and dividing the cold by the total spend. Okay, so it's like equals this divided by sum this. As you can see, that's 80%, right? If I was to switch it to percents, okay, it matches perfectly. All right, hopefully you guys saw this. It's a little bit down in the bottom left. But yeah, so it's really easy to do this. Okay, I have the team do this. We just go through each account. We pull out the audience spends by temperature. Okay, and we look at the percentage of cold. Okay, this is very important. This is how many new customers are you bringing in. It's how far are you reaching out and not like using your remarketing type of audiences or campaigns. or your engaged audiences too heavily, right? Because there is a cap, all right? And there's two parts here. One, I want to know how much I can spend to my hot and warm without it fatiguing, without like CPMs getting too high, yeah, without too much overlap, because you can have overlap, right? Like our engaged audiences, running them across every account, they're going to start competing with each other, right? So I want to know, okay, which accounts are running warm? Okay, I got some printable here, some ESI, got some ESI here. That's a lot of warm. That's some competition. What is a comfortable level of spend before it gets too much, before those audiences start to break down? It becomes unprofitable, right? And what we've found, and this changes, okay, this changes by season, by Facebook, right? This was like last Q4, right before Christmas. Okay, CPMs were high, right? Like January, February, usually much better. We could only spend 20K here. Now, 80% to cold is a bit too high for us. Our sweet spot, and I've just learned this because I've done this for so long and I've watched this for so long, is around 70-30, right? If I can get like 30% warm, 70% cold, that's much better. So, I did this analysis in this week, right? And I was like, this is too high. We need to pull back a bit on the cold. So that's exactly what we did. We reduced our cold spend that week by 15,000, and our ratio came into a better kind of sweet spot of where we want it to be. Now, the reason this is a sweet spot, the reason we can't push too high on cold is because the amount of what happens is Facebook will push out so wide that your customer for some of your niches or some of your products will be not qualified anymore, right? So we want to keep it controlled to where Facebook is operating at its like optimal spend level for those audiences. And that's just like at our level of spend, this is where we're at. $20,000 to warm, $50,000 a week to cold. Okay. And that's, like it changes, right? And that's going to be different for every business. So this is why I want you guys to do this, why I want you to really take a look, bucket all of your audiences, and really have a good understanding of like how much budget are you attributing to your remarketing, your engaged audiences, and how much you're putting to cold. So like I said, 70% to cold should be, for getting new customers. 30% is typically reusing, some of your existing warmer up audiences to get those purchases. That's going to get you a good ROAS. And I've tested this with different products. I've tested this with different companies too. So this isn't just like exclusive to Learn, that sort of budgeting. I know that's very common, right? I think there's some common statistics out there that tell you want to at least invest 20 to 30% of your budget into remarketing. This is how we do it, and I highly recommend it. And the only way you can really do it is if you are exporting your data like this. Okay, so I'm just going to go through this. I mean, you see we do this every week, right? Scroll down. This was like last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, this was last week right here. I can't believe we're already in April right now. You can see, we're actually pushing a bit too high on warm here, but I think that's because we have a special campaign running, which is fine. We could probably go more cold here on this RK account. This looks good. That looks good. Yeah, I mean, we're a little bit low on cold, 63%, so we can push a little bit more. Our campaigns are probably optimizing. I'm telling the team, hey, push, expand our spend here, especially on RK ESI, and they have been, by the way. I've seen that happening. I've been talking to them every day, right? So this is one tool that I use. I review this every week, and I'm like, oh, we got some room here. Also, we're at 25,000 warm, and maybe that's like the right amount, right? Like I said, CPMs were higher in December than they are now. Facebook is a little bit less competitive right now, I'd say. Tax season is over. Last week in April into May, it's actually a really good month. Facebook's really good to run this time of the year. So hey, warm audiences might be able to get a little bit more out of them, but I still think we can spend more on cold. So and again, this is a week. You don't have to do every week. You can do bi-weekly. You can do monthly. Monthly is fine, but I really like. I have a high-performing media buying team. Your team needs to be aware of these things, in my opinion, every week, at least to manage your audiences, because that's one of the most important skill sets that they can do on a weekly basis is treating your audiences appropriately, not burning them out, making sure you have the right ad flow, refreshing into them, right? So we come into here. What account is this? Just another ESI account. Let's go to, I guess, Rich Dad. Yeah, this is month to date, right? Spent over $100,000. We've got wide open. We've got a bunch of warm. So let's go back to campaigns. It's a little bit easier to read. Okay, cold, tier 2, a bunch of cold, a few warm down here, a lot of cold. But these warm, the warms are spending a bit, okay? That's actually the most spent is the warm campaign. We have a cold that's doing well. But, there's a couple things I can already see just from spotting this. One, some of these are some old campaigns, right? Like we set these up in February. So I want to make sure those ads are refreshed. Okay, so I would dig in, I'd come in here. You can see why naming convention is so important. I know the product, the date, the landing page. Why are these all the same landing page? Well, I've had that conversation. This is just the one that's working the best right now, but we should have some landing page testing happening here. Some diverse updates happening to our creatives, right? So that's next on the docket. We have a good mix of purchase and web reg events. Okay, and then warm and cold is a pretty good mix. There is some tier 2 in here. Okay, so that's fine. Overall, I'd say that's a good, healthy mix. So yeah, we don't need to select these right now. We can just come over here. Amount spent. Yeah, wide open. That's a pretty good $6 regs for wide open. This is a really good campaign. Let's see if we got any purchases here. Yep. There are purchases on this campaign. Got warm engage, another wide open. Skip, that's just like a different set of ads. Okay, it's doing okay. Yeah, I think one thing I was going to check is the ads, right? So we were back here into warm. This was 228. Learning limited. Let's check that out. Oh, so this is a purchase event. So, you need a 50 event fires to get out of the learning phase, right? And this has been running for $20,000 and we're still in the learning phase, right? There's not been 50 event fires. Yeah, that's a pain point of us doing higher priced courses, right? Selling $500,000, $1,500 courses is you're going to be in this learning phase and maybe not able to get out of it. That's why, we always recommend doing reg campaigns and honestly doing add to cart. I'd actually like to see our team using more add to cart campaigns because you get those firing a lot faster. And those are usually, for our funnels, really high value traffic. Yeah. So cool. Anyways, this is like just some advanced audience management, tactics. So, it gives you some ideas. I wanted to kind of riff with you guys a little bit just to show you kind of my process that I use for managing our audience spend, and then how I can if I'm looking at it every week, how can I use that information to then strategize what's next for the accounts, right? Like what's next for my campaigns? What do I need to launch? All right. And after you take so in the next module coming up, we're going to talk about targeting, and it's how the spend audience management kind of lends itself to, okay, now how do we manage like the warm, cold, and hot, but how do we manage all the cold targeting, right? Like, are those overlapping at all? Are we burning those out? So that's coming up in the next lesson. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.